I just wonder.
Shay, why don't you go first?
When I don't go first, you guys are going to miss me when I'm not here. How's Darren? And do you expect him to be ready for tomorrow night?
Yeah, I expect him to. I haven't seen him in person since Tuesday. So yesterday was a day off, and then we were getting ready to obviously practice right after this. But I anticipate him being ready to go.
And yesterday during an interview, I think you said it's not Darren versus AJ, it's Kansas versus BYU. Have you talked to your team about that, or at any point will you? Or
Yeah, sure we will. We made that point many times in the past, but we sure will do that. And that's not. I'm sure. They would say the same thing about us too. It's the objective of the day is to try to win the game. And that's the only thing I'm thinking about, and that's all the players should be thinking about as well.
What's it been like having a week without a midweek game, and do you think that it has benefited the players at all?
I don't know. We're actually playing pretty well. So sometimes when you're playing well, you don't want time off and be like a football team that's won 7 in a row or whatever, and then getting an off week, and you want to keep that momentum rolling. But I think from a rest standpoint and all that stuff, I can't see it being remotely negative at all.
Bill, Marco had a pretty good game in K-State.
Who did?
Marco.
You asked more Marco questions than anybody I've ever seen too. It's unbelievable.
So I was just curious what you think about his growth from the start of the season to where he's now and what he needs to be eventually.
Well, I think Marco, he played great against K-State, and he's had other games. The Tennessee game comes to mind. Both those second halves, he was the best player in the respective game in both those second halves. So I think he's grown as a player. I still think he makes easy plays sometimes more difficult than what they need to be. But I'm really proud of him. I mean, to come back from the injury that he had and to be this explosive and athletic, just goes to show you how athletic he is, but also how hard he worked to get back to this point. So I'm happy for any successes that he has, and certainly, for us to be the best team that we can be, we need to have another athletic guard that can, make a play you can't coach, and he's that guy with us.
And with AJ, when you've watched the tape, what have you seen, and does he remind you of any player you guys have played in the past?
I don't think that he reminds me off the top of my head of anybody we played in the past. He's he's ridiculously talented. He's long, and he can take 2 strides to everybody else's 3. So he has a tendency to be able to step around you to create separation to get to a shot, and he's he can score from beyond the arc, but he's certainly so good in the mid-range lane type area. But he's a terrific talent. We've played other terrific talents here in the past. I don't know if we played many, if any, that you would look at from an athleticism standpoint and say that he doesn't fit a mold that you would look at as some of the greatest NBA athletes out there, because it's 6'9", and I don't know what his wingspan is, but it's got to be well over 7, and to be that explosive and everything. He's a terrific talent.
Coach, 4 of your next 5 games are against top 25 teams. How do you guys remain focused and concentrated knowing you are taking on all these top opponents with not a whole lot of time in between?
Yeah, I think you could even add a little bit. I think all of them are in the top 13, which is a little bit different even. So, hey, Kevin, I didn't even see you back there. I think the thing about it is in this league, you want to win the next one, but you can't put so much emphasis on you have to do this or you have to do that, because the reality of it is when you play good competition and great competition, that it doesn't always go as you script it or hope it to go. So That's the way it is in a lot of leagues across America. But this one more so, I think, than any this year, in that everybody's going to go through a hard phase of their schedule. There's no doubt about that. But this is certainly the toughest phase of ours.
How much will everybody kind of have to hone in on Dybantsa with how much you guys switch, and can you also kind of comment on Rob Wright, Richie Saunders?
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point, but in league play, they're averaging 24, 19, and 18. So I don't think you put all your attention on one guy, and those other guys are more than capable of getting 25 or 30 any night. So we've got. Let's call it like it is. We got to guard their team, but our emphasis will be on trying to slow down those three, knowing that there's another guy in the starting lineup that made 5 threes and a half recently. So and then they got a very athletic big guy in the middle that has certainly given us fits in the past, primarily last year. I actually we're gonna do what we need to do to win the game, but the emphasis cannot be stopping one guy. We got to figure out a way to slow down and keep BYU out of rhythm as a group, not just one person.
Hey, Bill. How much do you feel like you know what your team really is at this point?
I don't. I think I know what 80% of it is. Just how the other 20% fits in with the other 4 guys. Don't really know that yet. I thought we got a pretty good sample size, in the Baylor and the Iowa State game, which was very, very encouraging, but then we haven't had that since then. So I think the guys have done really a good job of playing, not knowing really what it's going to be like the next game. I think they've done a good job with that. But the reality of it is, to your point, hey, the question is, what do you really know about your guys in this and that? I'd say I feel totally comfortable with my team, but I don't see exactly everything I will see with my team after we've been together and actually gone through some stuff for 2 or 3 weeks in a row. And hopefully that's all starting right now.
Is that still sort of typical this time of year? I realize things are different because of continuity in previous years and stuff.
I think it happens. I think it happens with different situations. I think if you have a guy that's been hurt and he hasn't played all year, he just comes into the fray, everybody's got to adjust. You do that in any sport, I would think. This has been a little bit different because it's been kind of, hit and miss. And so at least when a guy's injured and he's out for whatever reason, the team you're going to have that particular next game. In this situation, it is 80% of him better than 100% of somebody else, or however you look at it. And the question will be, then players have to adjust to that. Like they have to adjust to, well, how are we going to get him open? How are we going to do this and do that, as opposed to it just coming naturally? So I think it's a great question, and I'm not running from it at all, but I think it's still an unknown of where we will be and where we can be, just because it hasn't been consistent enough. And it's nobody's fault, but it's just the way it's been.
But what stands out, you mentioned those 2 games, Baylor and Iowa State. What stands out about just the way the other guys played with Darren?
I thought the other 4 were aggressive when Darren was in the game. And there's been times when we weren't aggressive when he was in the game, and he was aggressive. And there's been times when he's in the game, he's not as aggressive because the other 4 are maybe playing well or whatever. So I just think it's just we just gotta figure it out, and we will. But on the flip side, it's hard to be ridiculously aggressive if your body's at 80% or whatever. So we haven't even seen, we've seen glimpses, but we haven't seen an extended period of time where he was whole either. So that's also exciting that we still got that in front of us.
And then just going back to the K-State game, you mentioned talking to the guys just about that rivalry itself. Obviously, a lot of them first year here. How did you notice maybe on the court the way that they had embraced that or leading up to the game? And
I didn't. That's why we talked to them about it.
I mean, after. Like, did you notice it? Did you notice it in the game at all?
I thought we were a more connected, tight huddle type of team in that situation. And I really give Melvin most of the credit on that. Everybody, Melvin, Trey, Flo, BT, they all had good games. And of course, Marco, Shavers' point, he had a great game too. But I was really concerned about it going into the game. So we I made it a bigger emphasis, or not bigger, but I made it a big emphasis. And they said they took it to heart. Guys are. If it doesn't work out, they didn't take it to heart. If it works out, they took it to heart. So, you don't know exactly what actually works or what doesn't work. But in that particular situation, I thought even when the score was tight, I thought we played the right way and was more disciplined defensively and gave up what we had to give up if we were going to give up anything, and we still got good looks. I thought we played better than the score. And then they went a little cold, and that's when we was able to extend. So, sometimes in ball you play great defense and they still make a shot. Sometimes you play crap defense and they miss. In that situation, I thought we were doing more good things than what the score probably indicated.
Bill, when you talk about what this team can still become and everything, do you see more depth, signs of depth coming, or is that to be determined? Or
well, we've been playing 7, and if you get DP back, that puts you at 8.
Sure.
So that's more depth,
Yeah.
and we can go deeper than that, and we probably will at times. But I think each game just dictates that. People have talked to me a lot, and you guys ask questions about Cole. I'm not down on Cole at all. Cole's going to be a good player, and he's got to be ready when his time comes. But we're just trying to do what gives us the best rhythm right now, and I actually think less has been more here of late.
Hey, what made that a CBS Sports Classic a good fit for your future scheduling? It was just announced yesterday.
I don't know. It's probably it's more of a what is it? Just a 3-year commitment right now, but more of a long-term commitment that. I really believe any time that you can play on CBS, you want to play on CBS. I really believe being involved with the other 3 programs is bonus. I'm at the age in the time in my career where that would be something I would study when I was younger to say, okay, now how many bye games, how many this, how many that. I don't do that anymore. If it's a good game, let's play it. That's I used to be different, and because I used to really believe, which I think is partly true, that scheduling was very important getting in the NCAA tournament. You want to play so many quad ones. You want to do this. You want to play the teams from the past that actually are projected to finish in the top 2 or 3 in their respective league if it's a bye game. You want to do a lot of different things like that. And we studied it, and we had one guy that used to work here that you guys all know. Larry Keating was the best. He was the scheduling czar, and Sean's done a great job since this. But our RPI, if you went back and look, and strength of schedule was always so good, in large part because Larry knew who to play, and you didn't manipulate it, but you kind of manipulated it. I don't even look at that stuff anymore. Sean will come to me, do you want to play them? Man, that sounds like a great game. Or that doesn't sound like a great game. And that's kind of how that went.
This is billed as game number 1,000 in men's basketball at KU. In Allen Fieldhouse. What do you think of that round number? And when you got the job, did you ever envision you could have the kind of record you've had here?
Well, I hadn't thought about the last part. But I will say, if this is 1,000, and the building's been open for what, 71 years? And this is like 300 of 300th game. How many home games we played here? I don't even know what it is. So it's a lot. So that is not a great deal if the building's been open 71 years and I've coached in half of them. That does not make me feel young by any stretch. I don't know exactly what that number is or percentage-wise.
I actually had 352.
It's what's that?
352.
Okay, so 35% of them, 35.2% of them, we would have played here. Gary, as you guys know, I still, before every tip-off, I look to the guy to my right and left, the coaches. I said, "Can you believe this? We're spoiled rotten here. This is the best." When you think about night in and night out, and over the course of decades, not just during my time here, but certainly in my 23 years here, I've maybe there's been one or two I left out of here disappointed, thinking, it didn't feel the same. But 99% of the time, I'm thinking this is every bit as good as I ever dreamt it would be.
I was just wondering, I could probably guess maybe Missouri or the Oklahoma 3 overtime. Have you pinpointed your favorite one or two games?
We haven't played them yet.
Quick follow-up on that, and just feeling spoiled playing in this place. I don't know if you heard, they were just called roll call for the campers several days before the game. They've been here since Sunday. What's that mean to you to see the fan base, in it like this, and what's it mean to the new guys who maybe haven't been part of this elsewhere?
The camping groups actually were much bigger, 10 or 15 years ago. They're still good, but there's not as much emphasis on camping as what there was before. The strange thing about these campers, if I'm not mistaken, each student out there represents 30 other kids. So for if there's 100 kids out there, that means 3,000 students are represented, and they have to be in line or they lose their place in line. It's been like that for a long time. I think in today's time, it's been harder to create that every game type camping experience is what it was maybe 20 years ago, but it's still pretty darn good. And seeing the number out there, of course, game day adds a lot to it, and we're playing a terrific opponent. But seeing that number out there, I think will definitely get our guys excited, because our guys don't understand that. Our guys don't understand that those 100 kids out there represent 3,000. But they will before the day's over, probably.
Anything else? Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, guys.